Hey guys, welcome to Living in South Florida Does Not Suck. This is Andrew Burr from the Andrew Burr Group at the Kai's Company. We can't wait to get started. All right, guys, welcome to another edition of Living in South Florida Does Not Suck. This is my guest this week, Gina Soberon. She works for Guardian Angel Pest Control down here in South Florida, and you can check out more about that in our Real Talk episode that we're going to record right after this. But let's get started as we always do by saying, Gina, thank you very much for coming on the show, and tell us a little bit about what brought you to South Florida. How'd you get here? Where'd you come from?
My mother's womb.
That's a good start.
Born in Miami.
For sure. Oh, so
because I didn't really come to sort. So I had to start way back.
Full on local
right?
here. Yeah. All right. Cool. So all right. So you're born in Miami, raised in Miami, or
until second grade.
Okay.
Went to St. Lawrence, and we lived right down the street from Velda Farms. I always remember that warehouse.
Yeah.
And the little girl where her pants were being pulled down for the sunburn.
Yeah.
That was
That's
where
crazy.
I grew up and was born.
Yeah. All right.
Then
so next step from 2 years old, where'd you go to next?
So second grade, I went from there to Nativity in Hollywood. And that's where I pretty much grew up
So you grew up in the
until
Hollywood area. Okay.
I moved out.
Okay, yeah. So we had, we haven't had Dave Burns on here yet. He's actually my accountant, and he grew up in that same area. So interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Whenever we go down there, go cruises or whatever, he's like, oh yeah, we staying out there and da da da. Yeah, so that's cool. So you have a different perspective. You're our first, I guess, native Floridian.
Oh.
Well, everybody else has always come from somewhere else. So you have seen a whole lot of changes down here. I mean, obviously, a ton. So that would drive my next question is, so you now live where?
In the acreage in West Palm.
Okay, so you live in the acreage. So what brought you to the acreage? Because is that where you raised your family and all that stuff too? Is that, I mean, basically, or?
Well, I moved out of my parents' house into Davie.
Okay.
So I barrel raced
pretty close by.
most of my life. Yeah, not far at all.
At the rodeo.
Yeah, Bergeron Rodeo Ground, grew up there.
Okay.
One of my kids was into it as well. My son a little bit, not too much. So we were in the Davie area for up until 12 years ago.
Oh, okay, so they basically, you raised them mainly in, Broward
Davie,
County?
yeah, Broward.
Okay.
So what happened was the school system got pretty scary in Broward. I hate to say it.
No, that's...
Things change. And my oldest was not having a good time in high school.
Right.
She didn't really go to prom, didn't stay after school, didn't want to be involved. And, we're an outdoor family and we love sports. And I said, I'm not going to do that to the other kids.
Right.
So we picked up and we moved as little bit north as possible.
Right.
Because I have 4 siblings and my parents that were in Broward.
And everybody was still there at least, yeah.
Right. So A schools we found right in the acreage area out west there.
Yeah.
So that's where the rest of them graduated from. And it turned out great, I have to say.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, and so you're out in the acreage, so you have, by definition, at least an acre of land, right? You're
almost 2.
Now back then, it was possible to have that in Davie too, like when you were younger, right?
Yeah.
I mean, now it's you can get it, but man, it's pricey, right? But that's great. And then now, do you keep any horses on your land out here? Are you still into the barrel racing and the riding and stuff, or?
Up until 5 years ago,
Okay.
I was, but my son got into baseball, the youngest, so...
Travel baseball.
Exactly.
Jeez, I was. Isn't that a theme here, Cal? I was like, everybody, the travel I don't know how people do that. It's so insane. We have, like, every other guest has the kids in travel baseball, and I'm like, blows my mind how much time that takes and how much money and how much, that is crazy. So basically, I had to sell the horses to finance the baseball thing, or whatever it happened to be. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly.
And before we get into that, which we will, so the cool thing is that where she lives, it's basically Central Palm Beach County. The name of it is the acreage. We also have Loxahatchee out there, Loxahatchee Groves, and a couple other things like that. But the reality is we're very equestrian based here in the Western communities, quote unquote Western communities, and being able to have your horses on your land with you is a huge thing that a lot of people don't associate with Florida at all. Like, they don't think about that, but the Wellington area, which is where the acreage is, has become kind of the epicenter of equestrian sports. Polo, jumping, dressage, barrel race. We're not a huge old barrel. We have the down there, the Jim Brandon Center down at Okahili and stuff like that. But it's a huge equestrian area, and people are really amazed when they come out here sometimes because, not only horses. I mean, people have livestock, chickens, whatever. I mean, it's a pretty rural area that's just down the street from the beach, just down the street from world-class, entertainment, dining, and all that kind of stuff. So there's a huge dichotomy here. So it's fairly recent when you moved to the acreage then, right?
13 years.
13 years. So how close are you to the newest city in Florida, Westlake? Are you?
I'm actually all the way on the northeastern end of the acreage. So I'm backed up to Bay Hill.
Oh, okay.
And Ibis.
Okay, so you're
pretty easy for me.
Yeah, that's not too bad. So maybe we just come down Hall or something like that, right?
Coconut to North Lake.
Coconut to North Lake. Oh, North Lake. That's a whole other thing. But hey,
yeah, no kidding.
Listen, there's a lot of development going on. But the nice thing for you is that all that development's really worked in your favor for values. I mean, between COVID and the development and putting basically a little city out there that has all the amenities right in the middle of a very rural area, you're doing pretty well. So that's good. So I want to go back to the baseball thing, because that is, it is a main theme for people that have kids down here, is the sports and the year-round, athletics, because you can do it year-round, and we do it year-round.
100%.
Now the travel leagues, they have summer and winter leagues, right? So it's not like what do you get, like 2-week break in between, and then you go on to the next one, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's spring, summer, fall. So
three
it's
different.
round and round.
Okay.
There's really no breaks. I mean, there might be a week or so, but they want them practicing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no downtime.
Well, so I have friends that are in Ohio. They're in just outside of well, it's not just it's Dublin, Ohio. So, anyways, kind of near Cleveland or whatever. Columbus is that's right. Columbus is a big town, and they basically rush it in because they just started, their season, right? But BJ, the father, he's like, it's crazy because they only give them they're like, okay, we got 3 weeks to whatever, and then they're in games, and it's like, man, there's no time to. So his son now, he's tall and lanky, so they decided that they want him to be a pitcher, and he's primarily a hockey player actually, but he does the baseball because he's very athletic and he's pretty naturally good at it, and they want to be a pitcher and stuff. So he had 3 weeks of practice, and then now he's pitching in games. Now they're not in the travel league yet. But, eventually if they end up doing that, the deal with that is that they don't, their travel is not like here. Like here was Orlando probably
we went to North Carolina, Georgia, really? Tennessee.
Holy cow, I was going to say, because their travel league is nowhere near. Like there is nothing close. Like they're all somewhere far away, like a different state, like the travel league up there where they're at anyways, which is kind of weird to me. But because I know a lot, I guess maybe it depends on the travel league, but I know that a lot of the travel leagues will be, more Florida-based here. I don't know. I'm sure there's different whatever. I know nothing about travel leagues, obviously.
I mean, there's
the people we talk to are, like a lot of them are just like, from Orlando to whatever, and it's just the kind of round robin.
Yeah, there's a ton of them for sure.
And then if they get to whatever, like the playoffs and stuff like that, then that becomes a bigger thing or whatever. But
correct.
But yeah, being able to do it year round is a huge boon though to the
benefit.
Kids, right? Yeah. So. Now, does your son? Where's he at right now with that? I mean, are we aspiring for something else, or are we just go get a job, or are we on a major league ball team? Where are we at?
So, another thing with Florida boys is they're drafted a lot because they're at a higher level for their age,
absolutely.
And he always played up because his birthday was right before the summer. So,
Was he bigger?
He had some offers for some schools, but he decided that he was going to do med school instead of baseball,
Nothing wrong
which
with that.
was like, but it's what it is. He is starting. He graduated from Florida Gulf Coast already with his biology,
Nice.
and then he's going to Nova to be an eye doctor.
Oh, cool. So my daughter's actually doing her whatever it is to be the one that you don't have to be a doctor for, optometrist, I guess. Which one's an ophthalmologist? Optometrist, I think is the one that she's doing. Because you don't have to be a doctor to be an optometrist, right?
Optometrist.
So he's going to be an ophthalmologist or something. What's he?
Down here?
Yeah. She actually, the place she works, they have a thing in Boynton, one in Wellington or whatever, and she, apprentices with whoever.
Oh, that's pretty
cool.
cool.
That's pretty cool, yeah. All right, awesome. So, but to get back to the Florida-ness of it, I guess, another nice thing we have here in Florida, we don't, listen, never been a big secret that Florida's public school system has never necessarily been the best. You can find very good schools, but you also find those that aren't that great, although I think that, nationally, from what I hear, it's...
we're doing pretty good.
But we also have a private school, charter school, whatever, on every corner. So it's kind of crazy the amount of, the opportunities that you have to put your kids in schools that, on a general basis are not crazy expensive like that. It's not like a preparatory school up north where you're paying, 6 figures to put them through school. But there's a cost and all that sort of stuff. But so we managed to get around that. But the really nice thing about Florida schools, especially if you're a Floridian and you've been putting into bright futures or whatever, from the start, most of our kids can have their college, paid for before they get out of high school through that program. And, the Florida colleges seem to excel. We have 5 top tier colleges in the state of Florida that I can think of. And then depending on specialties and stuff like that. So we really do have a really great collegiate system. Not only in sports, but in actual education. So that's a nice little trade-off to have. So
yeah, definitely.
And then, I guess if you could combine them both, that'd be the ideal thing, right?
Well, my son, actually 3 out of my 4 went to college. They had Bright Futures and Florida prepaid, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
They were actually getting enough money to pay for where they lived on top of everything being paid for at school.
Yeah, that's great.
Except food.
Oh yeah, food's
So that was it.
No, that's an amazing opportunity that we have down there. So if you're thinking about moving down there and you got younger kids, make sure you look into that stuff. And hopefully we still got it when your kids get older because those programs go.
Yeah, and one other thing I would give people as pointers, I learned this the hard way with one of my kids. If your kids are going to be in the, they're like higher classes
that
like
AP and all
that, go towards their college, you have to make sure that the classes they're offering actually do transfer over. So they got to do their homework first, because you could end up with all these extra credits, but then they're only transferring to like one school, or they don't transfer at all.
So that is true, and I have firsthand knowledge of some of them programs, some of them programs. I didn't really go to college. I did. Some of those programs, for instance, at one of our local high schools here, the Palm Beach Central, they have an agreement with the Wharton School of Business at Penn State, but it's only if you're in that program, you can have an associate's degree basically when you walk out, but only if you go to Penn State, and then you continue your. So there, and those are like the choice programs and stuff like that. There's so many AP and because another thing that I do is I am the scholarship chair for the Wellington Rotary Club, so I'm the guy that gives out scholarships every year, and the kids that we generally give out scholarships to have all got darn near a degree by the time they get to, it's crazy. Our Interact students, they amaze me every time. We gave 2 gals scholarships this year. One of them needed 3 credits to get their associates, and the other one was walking into college with an associate's and starting straight on the bachelor's.
Wow.
So
nice.
and they're both from Wellington High School, so. But yeah, you do have to definitely do your homework. And the crazy thing to me is now they're starting to, put these kids in these programs in middle school and stuff, which I think is a little early. Yeah, trying to develop. Now maybe if it's an arts type thing, like your kid's very artistic and likes to sing or whatever it is, you want to put them in Bach and then maybe they go to Dreyfus. That's one thing. But when we're talking about some of the, the choice programs or the programs, like veterinary medicine. Veterinary medicine is offered at Wellington High School. Well, now they've got a couple of the schools, the middle schools, that are now offering like a precursor to that. So, but I don't know how a kid knows what they're going to do.
I was just going to say
it's way too early.
They switch sometimes their first year of college.
Yeah, well, a lot of people go in with one major and leave with another. Yeah, so
definitely.
It's, anyways, but it's a good thing that's afforded to us down here. So it's could be worse. So let's take it away from the kids and let's talk about you and your husband and whatever. Like what does Gina like to do when the kids are not involved? What do you do now? What are great things about being in South Florida that you really love that aren't necessarily kid-centric?
Okay, so I would say our number one activity would be motorcycle riding.
Okay.
My husband and I actually collect bikes. We have some collectors, and we ride a couple times a week. You know, we'll do little meetups and things like that. We're into sport bikes right now.
Okay.
So we have some Ducatis.
Oh, nice.
And my husband also builds bikes. It's kind of his passion, his hobby.
Yeah.
Exactly. So he does a lot with that.
That's another year-round, event down there. It's not year-round a lot of places.
Exactly. Yeah. There's never a day. Well, I mean, unless it's raining. But you can.
And
ride.
you guys generally head out west, like go out by the lake, do the lake or something like that, or you just
like Lake Okeechobee. You know, the back roads to Stewart.
Yeah.
We'll do, the toy run.
Okay.
Charity events.
Charity events, yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Poker runs and stuff like that. So the big three here. So where are you at on the beach? Are you a beach gal? Not a beach gal?
Usually Jensen or Delray.
Okay.
I do also like Blue Heron at the end of Blue Heron, but lately we've been going a little north or south.
You talking about the little park underneath the bridge, or are you talking about the actual Singer Island, the beach?
No, it's where right at the end of Blue Heron, you go over the bridge, like where Peanut Island is.
Oh yeah, okay. So Peanut Island, yeah. Well, there's the little so as soon as you get to the bottom of the bridge, if you were literally like the park before you got touched down, there's Phil Harris Park. There's a little park there.
Yes.
Right. So that's a cool little park, and if you're brave enough, you can actually swim over to Peanut Island. But that's a little insane sometimes. So that's why I was asking, because some people, a lot of people don't know that that's there, and they just kind of whatever. And now you got to park at the marina. You used to be able to park right there. It's whole everything changes. But I didn't know if that's what you were talking about. If you were actually talking about the beach.
No, right all the way at the end to the beach.
Okay.
Mulligan's is there.
Yeah, the mall. Yeah,
they have a
$2.99
breakfast. That's really good.
Yeah. 2 for $1 beers all day too, and they're pretty cheap. They're pretty cold. It's at least that's what it was when I used to go there. Been a while. And John, was it Longboats? Longboats was there and stuff like that.
Yeah. Johnny Longboats.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how often do you actually get to the beach though?
So we just had our 25th, and we stayed at the Opal Resort right on Delray.
Opal's nice.
Really nice.
Yeah.
So that was the last time, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it ends up being typically, with the guests we have on, it's either like, oh, we go there all the time, or we never make it, because whatever. So I was just curious, but so the beach. No problem with the beach. You like the beach. You get there when you can. Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming that the same thing with being in the water. How much is being in the water, on the water, important to you versus maybe just hanging out at the beach?
I'd rather be on the water.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of salt water and sand.
I don't like sand. I don't like the beach. And the beach is not for me. But I love being on the water. So, particularly down in the Keys and stuff. Obviously, people that watch this know I have a place at Key Largo. Man, it's just I cannot wait. I'm going to be down there again. I was just down there a couple days ago, but I'll be down there again in like a week and a half. Cannot wait.
Awesome.
All right, so we got that one. How about golf? Are you a golfer at all? I mean,
does miniature golf count?
Sure.
Yeah, I love that. That's
no. Listen. So people think of when they're somewhere else. Like a lot, I feel like a lot of people go, oh man, the golf year round, the beach, and then what we started to bring up is the food actually, which people never think about. But the eating, the prospects of finding a great meal outside of like a good Cuban meal or something like that, but fine dining has changed so much in the past, say, 10 years. It's crazy because now we have everybody that had a restaurant in New York, Seattle, wherever, they're all now opening places down here. So the food scene has changed immensely. So I guess I have 2 questions for you on that. When you were growing up and when you were younger, were you a big Cuban, fan of Cuban style food? Because some people are and some people aren't. I mean, I know when I first got here and I was, first time I got down there, I was in my teens, I guess, or whatever. Or first time I stayed down here, man, I loved it. I was fell in love, right? But I didn't grow up with it around the corner.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh, really?
No? Yeah. I married a Cuban.
Well, that counts,
so
I guess.
Definitely have a lot of Cuban since then. But before that, not really. I mean, I'm Italian, so we always had Italian. If we went out for Italian.
Right. Okay, that's fine. Hey, what about now? Are you a foodie? Do you go, or are you just,
not really?
okay.
I do love Mexican though.
Yeah,
Like, I'll jump at the chance to go out for
Have you
Mexican.
have you been to Mole, or whatever, the new one over here?
Yep, Mole's good.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
I get conflicting opinions on that. Sorry, people at Mole.
Well, they have really good chips and salsa.
You can't rate a restaurant on chips and salsa.
Yes, you can.
No, I don't think you
Chips
can.
and salsa is huge.
That's the first thing you get, but that's not. Maybe you can rate a restaurant on that. I don't know.
It means so much to me.
Really? All right. Well, there you go. Something to go with your margarita, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
So there you go.
Chips, salsa, margarita. Take whatever I ate home.
Then what you order afterwards doesn't really matter. After a
No,
couple
I
of
take it
margaritas.
home and eat it tomorrow.
That's great. All right. So you're not a foodie, which is that's fine. Not everybody is, but I think it's definitely changed there. Is there any other like things like if you guys aren't going out on a bike? I mean, do you guys do like a date night? If you do, is there something particular you do down here that you enjoy for like a date night or something, or you just?
Well, I don't know if you know this about me, but before Guardian Angel Home Inspections, which is what I do now and I absolutely love, I did a different career for 30 years.
What was it?
Special needs.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I did all kinds of different avenues of it. I started out with horses for the handicap because both of my horses could ride anyone around. So they had asked me at a rodeo one time if I would volunteer. So I started doing that when I was 18, did that for many years. Then I fell into going into people's homes and teaching. I became an RBT, which is Registered Behavior Therapist. And I trained parents how to, mainstream their child with their other kids, getting the homework done, the nightly events and chores, and for things to be smoother. So I did that for a while. Then I ended up the director for the ARC and MacTown.
Oh, wow.
So I had group homes, I had after school summer camp program, and an adult companion program.
Really?
And that became my passion because one of the classes I had to take back when 85% of special needs are sexually, mentally, or physically abused.
Yeah, I've actually heard some stuff about that. I have, our Rotary is involved in a couple of things like that too. And then my wife's cousin, they put a couple of labels on him. But I mean, bottom line is he's mentally retarded. He basically stopped developing when he was, like 8 or so. So he still got the mentality and all that of an 8-year-old. Now he's 30. God, he's probably 37. And just interacting, and stuff like that with him and some of his friends and hearing some of the stories and stuff like that. So it's kind of crazy. It's not, it's hard to look at it from an outside point of view like mine and find a whole lot of good stuff that happens to those kids. So that is quite the emotional toll that has to take over the years.
Well, that's why I said I'm going to make a difference.
Right.
And when I was offered this position at Guardian Angel, that was my only struggle. But, everything happens for a reason. So I took some time off, went on vacation, was thinking about it, talking with family, praying. And it hit me that my position at this point, I was so high up. I was dealing with the government, grants, it was so frustrating, and I wasn't spending any time with them anymore. Even my staff, I wasn't able to train them as much as I wanted to because I was so busy with all the politics.
The administrator, yeah.
So now I volunteer.
So you stay pretty busy.
So basically. I do Miracles in the Outfield.
Okay.
That's a program for kids where Palm Beach Gardens actually purchased 2 fields for them and a playground.
Oh, really?
It is gorgeous.
Nice.
So in season, it's every Thursday night around 5:30, 6 o'clock. And we have 2 fields now. We've grown from 1 field to 2 fields.
Wow.
And we have a volunteer for each child. And each kid gets up to bat twice, do 2 innings for each side. And, they have
make sure that they're involved and have
Yeah, so
That's
they all
awesome.
hit the ball, they all run the bases. And it's, the parents stay in the stands.
Right.
And we just get a bunch of volunteers to, give them a night off and get the kids some exercise. And
and that's the other thing too is that my aunt, not my aunt and uncle, they might as well be. My wife and I have been together for 30-something years, but so my wife's aunt and uncle, I mean their whole life revolves around their son still, and they've had to build their life around his needs, right? I mean even now they're both retired. He still lives with them full time. He still goes with them everywhere they go. They built their vacation and all that right around him because they had to. And I've done a lot of stuff with like the Hab Center and stuff like that. Try to support them. The Hab Center in Boca, that wasn't Arkwright. I think it's Seacoast or
the L Center.
No, it's the Hab Center off of. It's in Boca, right off of. Christ, I can't remember the road. I think it was Siegel Industries that maybe did it, but it was basically it was somewhere that the kids could try to get some vocational training. It is basic stuff. Like they would do
yes.
real basic manufacturing stuff, like putting boxes together or something like that. And so I started getting involved with that, for a while. And it's between not having time and honestly, I couldn't do it. I mean, it's just to me it was very depressing and tough for me to stick with. So I bless you for that. That's huge. All right. Well, yeah, you don't really have much time for date night if you got all that going on. So
we get out.
Yeah, that's cool. So the acreage, what's your favorite place to eat in the acreage or Loxahatchee area out west? Mexican. What's Mexican? I don't even know what they do Mexican out there.
I don't believe so.
I don't think so. There will be soon.
That'd be nice. Actually,
in Westlake, they're going to be putting.
In Westlake, they're putting one.
Yeah, it's a chain, but I mean it's my daughter loves it. What's the thing? Chipotle. Is it Chipotle one? Yeah, Chipotle.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a
Chipotle's
Chipotle one out there. So there you go.
But we have a Mexican restaurant in Royal Palm, which is straight down the road from me, and that is a really good Mexican place. And then Jabrewski's Pizza is really good.
Okay.
Takes a long time to get a pizza, though. Like an hour and a half.
Hey.
It's good.
Listen.
It's worth the wait.
There you go. As long as it's worth the wait, it's good. All right. Well, I think, what are we on time? We're about time to wrap this one. All right. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. We're going to thank Gina so very much. We're going to do another episode, like I said, Real Talk. We'll talk to her about the business more and about how insurance and real estate is affected by inspectors and all that good kind of stuff. So thank you so much for coming on and letting us know, your feelings about South Florida.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I loved it.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Hey, guys. Thank you for tuning in to Living in South Florida Does Not Suck. Please do subscribe with the notification bell on. If you liked today's guest, you can also get more information about them right here. Like magic, it will appear. Anyways, we love having you here. We love having your friends here. Shout it out from the rooftops. Like us on Facebook. Share it with your friends. We'll see you soon here in beautiful, sunny South Florida.